Monica was not prepared to see the truth in such brutal form. She came to Anita as someone trying to salvage whatever could still be saved, but the more she reopened the files, the more she compared every result and every stage of treatment, the more she was pulled into a horror that cannot be undone. What left Monica frozen was not only the discrepancies in the numbers, but the terrifying possibility that Anita may never have had the disease that brought the entire family to its knees. If that was true, then the agony that tore through Anita's body all this time was no longer the work of fate, but the mark of a mistake, or worse, a betrayal hidden far too long. From that moment on, Monica was no longer facing only a medical file. She was facing the question that could destroy everything. Who put Anita into chemotherapy? She understood the price of the truth all too well. If she spoke too soon, the Dupree family would explode with rage, grief, and blame. But if she stayed silent, Monica would have to live with the feeling that she was part of the darkness that had swallowed Anita whole. That inner conflict made Monica colder, more guarded, and more frightening. She no longer believed in coincidence. A treatment plan was far too aggressive, a body collapsing with unnatural speed, a red drug like a curse flowing straight into Anita's veins. None of it looked like healing anymore. It looked like a sentence being carried out day after day, right in front of the people who believed they were saving her. Vernon was the first to sense that something had shifted off course. He had stood beside Anita through every wave of pain, had forced himself to stay strong whenever she wanted to give up, had believed that as long as the family did not fall apart, Anita would still have a reason to fight. But that faith began to rot the moment Monica revealed an unusual hesitation. Vernon did not fear illness as much as he feared realizing that he might have placed his trust in the wrong hands. If Anita did not have cancer the way everyone believed, then what exactly had he been protecting his wife from, and what had he delivered her into instead? The rage inside Vernon did not erupt into chaos at once. It settled into a cold, dangerous hatred, far more lethal because when a man like Vernon stops hurting long enough to start suspecting, he will not stop until he finds the person who must pay. Nicole became a different kind of fuse in the tragedy. She was not calm enough to accept silence, and not cruel enough to wait quietly for everything to be verified. To Nicole, every day Anita suffered was another day that someone owed this family a debt. She wanted to know why her mother had been pushed to the edge, why Monica discovered all of this only when it was already too late, and whether that delay came from helplessness or from a cover-up disguised as caution. Nicole loved Anita too deeply to keep her reason intact. Because of that, her pain quickly turned into accusation, and her love became a desperate need for someone to blame. In her eyes, truth that arrives too late is still a betrayal. Meanwhile, Anita herself was the deepest wound in the story. She had endured months of being drained by fear, weakened by treatment, and broken by the feeling that death was drawing near, only to now face something even crueler. The possibility that she had not been destroyed by the disease she believed in, but by the very method meant to save her. Nothing is more bitter than giving all your courage to a battle, only to discover you may have been fighting the wrong enemy. Anita's collapse was no longer just physical. It was the unraveling of trust, dignity, and her right to know the truth about her own body. Everything tightened when Monica realized the records were not only medically inconsistent, but contained abnormal gaps, traces of edits too subtle for ordinary eyes to notice, yet too obvious for someone who understood how the system was supposed to work. The more she followed the trail, the more she felt Anita was not the victim of a single mistake. Someone had ignored a warning. Someone had rushed to legitimize a conclusion. Someone had allowed the strongest drugs to enter Anita's body before the truth had ever been fully confirmed. From that point on, this was no longer a journey of healing. It became a hunt for truth inside a family already standing at the edge of collapse. Monica was pushed into the cruelest choice of all: remain silent to preserve the last fragile pieces of order still standing, or expose everything except becoming the one who ignites an earthquake. Vernon was driven to the line between love and revenge. Nicole was torn in half between the pain of losing her mother and the need to condemn someone immediately. And Anita, the weakest of them all, became the center of the storm, where every secret, every mistake, and every silence would finally come crashing down. If Anita never had cancer, then who put her into chemotherapy? If the drug once called hope was actually the final blade, then who made that decision? Who chose to look away, and who will be the first to collapse when the truth is dragged into the light? In Beyond the Gates, the tragedy is no longer lies in the fact that a woman is dying. It lies in the possibility that an entire family may have to live with the nightmare because she was not fading because of illness, but because she was betrayed at the moment she was most vulnerable.